All right, the Reds, thank you very much for tuning in, you absolute bloody legends. Doesn't get any bigger than this, boys, does it? Right, let's run the credits. The biggest game in Premier League history anyway. Well, the two biggest teams, 39 trophies, Premier League titles. I tell you what, some teams out there would dream of winning over 10 Premier League titles anyway. But United are in the mud. But still, it's a massive game. Everyone around the globe will be tuning in. And lads, thank you very much for tuning in. And ladies, most importantly. But I'm joined by Spider, LFC, and Connor from the Cop Council. Spider, firstly, and chat as well, I'll pose this question to every single one of you. Yes. What does this game mean to you? Spider, we'll start with you.
It means, besides, so I've been supporting Liverpool since 1985, right? Shows my age right there. And I've always under pressure from people that were around me, especially coming from Cork. There's a lot of my area that are Manchester United fans. There's a lot of people that are Liverpool fans, and then the Arsenal fans started showing up there in the early 2000s from somewhere. I wonder why, but like it's years of going in and supporting. Like we the supporters club here in Cork called Brannigan's for years, and we'd go in there and we'd sing our hearts out inside over every single song. Like you talk about Irish lads that know every single bloody song that was to be sang, and we'd sing it 2 hours before the game. We're singing it after the game, the whole lot. And there would be a few manx allowed in there and stuff, job regulars, and stuff. But just listening to 15, 20 years of them, just and us being able to have a couple of victories of winning some games against them, when they were at their peak, and especially that 4-1 there with the Torres and the screamer from Aurelio, and these ones, those kind of scenarios, man. That was the only joy that we have. But the game still feels as big, even though I don't hear from many of them much these days. So they don't seem to want to talk or write to me anymore. But that's just the way it goes. They've had a lot of success in the 90s and early 2000s and stuff like that, and they lived off it, But I mean, we were around when we were losing everything and not winning anything next to them, But they're starting to feel
still winning European cups and that, weren't we?
Yeah, we were, of course we were, but it's just in the league terms, I should say. And we were still supporting week in, week out without any, without even a dip. And for me, it's the biggest game you could watch all season for me, and I look forward to it. I like the banter that's around it. I respect the team, the Fergie team that was there, and for me also, I would rather see a Liverpool United battle for a title every season than I would with Liverpool City, because it's just the scenario it is. It's a bit lackluster,
Yeah.
It's a bit.
It doesn't mean nothing to me.
It doesn't mean
City.
Nah.
It's just and I think you see that over the last couple of seasons, the way teams just roll over for City because they're not really bothered.
Yeah. I want to beat United at their best, at their very, very best, every time we play them. And then I know we're the better team now, but I that's what I would like to see. And it's unsatisfactory to be playing against City every season, even though it's good battles. It's just that I just don't like how they got there, really. So.
Yeah, even like over 10 years of City winning titles, I think even still, they'll still be behind Liverpool and United in terms of title holds anyway. But get to Connor's comments anyway. We'll get to chats most importantly. Big up John, big up, hope you're well. Not too bad, mate. Thank you for tuning in. Hi, hello Henry as well, and obviously John. Everyone hates. Hi Henry, just saying hello. Obviously Tally Ho. Gary as well. Connor, what does it mean to play Manchester United? Me and you, obviously, very similar ages as well as obviously Spider. A little bit more older than us. But
great beer gives
no offense. Yeah. It's the what does it mean? Me and you, and probably our age bracket, really, we're going into school and United at their peak, really, in reality. But Liverpool were going to Champions Leagues under and obviously Champions League finals. But what does it mean? What does Manchester United mean? What does the game mean to you, mate?
Biggest game of the season.
If you can sum it up. Yeah,
it is. It's the biggest, fight throughout the season. As you said, me and you would grow up in school, and that would be the case. Manchester United, they had everything. They'd be competing for European titles. Champions League, Premier Leagues. You'd have Ferguson constantly, winning things, and then you'd have us under Rafa, trying to, break down that United team. And for me, the most memorable season growing up, of course, was that 2008-2009 season, where we took them right to the wire for it. And as Spider said, that Fernando Torres in the grey kit, that was the most memorable time as a kid against Manchester United.
Stevie kissing the camera.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, Dos Santos scored 2 goals in a week against
Real Madrid
and Real Madrid.
Yeah,
it's the best time he's ever played in a Liverpool shirt. When
two lobs as well, wasn't it? 2 half volley lobs. Yeah.
But it's the fact that even since then, of course, Liverpool, obviously they've got rid of Fergie. Well, Fergie left, and then of course they had their downward spiral, and we've had our up spiral since then. Obviously, even you go back, 13-14 season, beating them. Doing the double over them in the league, beating them 3-0 at Old Trafford as well with Luis Suarez and Daniel Sturridge, and even more recently, obviously last season, the 9-0 in aggregate. That's of course amazing, of course, but that's not United at their best, is it? And I'd much rather, as Spider said, I'd much rather it be against Manchester United for this title, because that's proper rivalry. You got it between us and the Ev and us and United, but when you've got City that forcibly there, even Chelsea to some extent as well, pushing themselves because of the money and so on. It isn't traditional rivalry, like for example, like Arsenal Spurs, someone like that. It's traditional. We hate each other. There's no love between it. We hate each other, and there's a reason for it. And at the end of the day, we're the 2 most successful clubs, in England. Of course, we're more successful. But it's the fact that it is that rivalry, that bitterness, and no matter if Liverpool are playing bad, no matter if United are playing bad, we both want to beat each other. And that's for me, that's the main priority. Batter the Mancs at Old Trafford, and that's the number 1 priority.
And that's what we go into, lads, as well, and chat as well, in it, that we're, regardless of how bad, as Connor's alluded to, and Spider, no matter how bad they are, they're going in with the same intentions, regardless of the outside settings. Both teams, just one game that you do not want to lose. And it is. You don't want to be losing to Manchester United. And as far it was Dos Santos settings, but where is it? But is it Rob's went with Spider's got a bit of a Dos Santos look about him anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know if that's a compliment or
a lot of people think because they think that because I have my hair pulled back, they think my hair is bald. A lot of the amount of people turn around and tell me that I'm bald, and I'm just like, I'm not. Look at it. Look at that thing. Look at that.
Yeah. I'm going to be bald in about 10 years anyway, especially. But how are we doing, Ant, as well? Big up to you, mate, as well. Obviously, it looks like Leicester are keeping hold of Fofana. If Chelsea don't stump up the cash really as well. Fofana, they are. Right. But gents, as you can see, obviously the 2 results to our left of the screen, everyone, obviously Manchester United, similar with Liverpool, haven't started in the best of place, really. But chat, let me know as well. Pose that question if you are jumping in now. What does this game mean to you, most importantly? But Spider, judging from the 2 results, how have you felt about watching Manchester United? If it's been on match of the day, really, but there's a lot
I watched them live, yeah.
What have you thought of their start under Derek?
And that's sorry for cutting you off there. By the way, it's the start. It's the defense that mainly gets me. The link up between the defense and the midfield has been absolutely atrocious. David he hasn't helped him for being the butterfingers that he is, and he's capable. For a couple of seasons he was like the best goalkeeper in the world. but he was always capable of these Butterfingers moments, and it cost United a lot in the last few seasons, a lot of points. Regardless of that, Maguire just whether like he plays so well for England, but then you see him in the United thing, and it's just like he can't trust anybody that's around him, and then he takes the brunt of the blame because he's either trying to overdo something at the same time as do it, but at the same time as trying to keep his positions and all of that. But nobody can work alongside him. Dalot is not a Premier League standard of footballer.
No.
The mess up between him and Ericsson the other day as well, between Maguire and Ericsson was a poor. Like Ericsson could have just turned and played the ball out like a Fabinho
the
style
cash
thing.
waiting slapping it every time, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, they're just too nervous on the ball. They can't keep. It's they're playing up from the back. It's probably one of the worst I've seen in the league. Like by far, I think it probably is the worst I've seen in the league, trying to play out from the back. Every time they look like they're going to get caught or closed down, and that has to be something that I think Ten Hag is going to work on. But that's not his team. Like he's in there for the long haul. I think it's like Klopp. You're going to see a big change over the next 2 seasons from United. It's going to take him at least 3 seasons before he's got him challenging for anything at all, let alone getting him cohesive on the pitch. So it's as myself and Connor alluded to earlier, you want to be playing United at their best, and you want them to at least give you a game. But that hasn't been United for the last couple of seasons. Still enjoy kicking the crap out of them across the pitch, but you still want to be challenging against them, because as I alluded to before, Newcastle now they've got new owners. They're going to be coming in challenging, but they've got a lot of history behind them. Not of winning trophies too much, but just to have the type of people that support the club. Aston Villa is another team that's like that. If they've been in their own Forest, these guys have got a pedigree of supporters that are there, and other ones that were just like maybe like Man City was really seen as a casual supporters club of people that just didn't want to support United. So for me, that's why I saw it back in the old main road. But it was I think that's why there's such a I can't think of the word, but just a bad look upon these teams when they start winning things because of money. It just doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right. There's something stinks about it, and it doesn't feel like you could see it in their parades. Even when they have parades, it just doesn't feel like they believe that they deserve it on merit rather than just the collective of the squad that they've bought.
Just look at Kevin De Bruyne's face anyway.
Yeah. He's like, oh, man, I wish I was in Liverpool doing this. You could tell that because he's a Liverpool fan growing up. You could tell he wishes he was in Liverpool doing that. It'd be a different scenario. Like he's just disappointed, really.
Yeah. I think over time, I'd wish, and with the rivalry with City, I think it will eventually come, but it'll take about 15, 20 years when I'm like 50 or 60. It potentially it will be on the level of Manchester United, but time will tell. Obviously, with the lineup, Connor, as we seen against Brentford, that was their lineup to the right of our screen. They did start with De Gea, Martinez. There is rumours of Maguire getting dropped. Speaking to a couple of Man United mates as well. Varane, supposedly, if he's fully fit, will be coming in place of Maguire. Obviously, Dalot, Shaw, Fred, and Ericsson playing DM against Brentford, which that's something that Liverpool can very much isolate, possibly. And obviously, Rashford, Ronaldo up front, Sancho, and Bruno, Connor. But are you hoping Liverpool start this with the ferocity in which we did last season in terms of the high-press nature? And obviously, the big news coming out of Liverpool today with obviously all the images looking like Bobby Firmino, especially when we've got no striker, is looking. Are you hoping Liverpool start with the ferocity that we did last season? In terms of just don't let them time on the ball as well. Just
100%. I think that's the way to do it. If you're going to do... well, I think you only have to look at the Brentford game itself to really look at that aspect of thing. I think Spider's right in the fact that United at the moment, the players they have are not good at, building play from the back. Obviously, they've got an improvement on that slightly with, of course, Lissandro, with Martinez. But is Martinez a good centre-half in the Premier League? Early stages and early looking at it, no, he's not. He's not, built as a centre-half unless, of course, United potentially go back to a 3-back. That's the only other way I could see it working for them. But again, you have to be on it from minute one. We saw last season how United tried to play that, counter-pressing football against us, and they just got battered, from minute one. And they knew straight away that was the game plan, Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp, and it completely just fell into our hands for the rest of the game. And I think again with United, now under Ten Hag, they're not going to change their ways from what happened last week against Brentford. Nothing will happen like that. And obviously, for me, I don't see Eriksen as a DM. I don't get where Ten Hag has this idea of him being a
He had been
DM.
playing false nine against Brighton as well, mate, didn't he? And he's literally. I'm surprised we'll probably see him centre half this weekend at this rate.
It's like Bobby Firmino under Brendan Rodgers when he's playing him left wing. But it just goes to show that and again, I think on a United side of things, I think I would be massively disappointed if I was a United fan. Obviously, not just for the results and the performances, but the overall transfer window. For example, this was meant to be the clear out of Manchester United. And don't get me wrong, I know you can't go and get rid of 12, 13 players and bring in 12, 13 players, but the fact that they've only signed that Martinez, Eriksen, and that left back that I can't quite remember his name, but
Malacios.
Yeah. Apart from that, there's been nothing, and obviously, they're rumored to Casemiro at the moment and so on. But for me, I think it's a disappointment. Just to, and we've spoken about progression. Jurgen Klopp in his first summer got the likes of Sadio Mane and Gini Wijnaldum that, of course, built on the legacy of Liverpool. Going further, 4 or 5 years in the future. Will Lazaro Martinez and Eriksen, will they be here in 3 or 4 years' time? Martinez, United fans, I think, would say yes, but will Eriksen be here in 3 or 4 years' time for United? You don't know. And the whole of the people that all of the players they've been linked to, they're only short-term answers. They're not long-term answers at the moment, from what I've seen at the minute.
And that's a case in point, going spot on there as well. If Casemiro, if this rumour, or if it does come to the forefront in reality, in terms of United do get Casemiro, great signing. But as you said there, Con, it's just another strategy of Man United of old over the last 10-year period, buying big and not necessarily fitting into the system. I think Ten Hag, obviously, I didn't see a lot of Ajax, but I watch them in the Champions League. But it's square pegs in round holes. It's not going to be. He'll improve it, but for me, I was speaking to Jamie and Gav and obviously Savage. Sorry, in terms of when we were speaking about, obviously that money would be better spent around the team. Would you say, Connor, in terms of not just necessarily on one player?
Yeah, well, again, it's that factor that you're signing a 29, 30-year-old for what is 60, 70 million pounds. You'd much rather that be put around the entirety of the squad. You could at least get, I'd say, at least 2 players in for that, for decent quality and decent pricing as well. But again, it just goes to show that the signings at the minute and the whole recruitment under Manchester United, it's not scouts doing it, it's agents doing it. It's a very very big signing every time. It is like, and again, it's the problem with Manchester United at the minute. And United fans can blame the Glazers and so on and this and that. But for me, I think it has to go a little bit on Ten Hag. I think because, of course, he would have had conditions before coming into the club and so on. And, of course, we've already seen under Manchester United managers how, Van Gaal was, thrown out and Mourinho wanted this player and that player and was told no at the time. And, again, for me, a little bit does have to go on Ten Hag. You knew what you were coming into. You knew what the plan was, that it wasn't going to listen to you. And, again, if this window, I think everyone thought that United would sign, 5, 6 players, minimum. But now it looks like that they're in desperate street yet again. And, Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp, again, you look at it like that. He changed everything with Michael Edwards and the transfer committee. Everything changed, not straight away, of course, but, through time and progression. But at the minute, you just don't see that at Manchester United. And if I was a United fan, I'd be worried about it. I'd be really, really worried about it.
Get the
Team of
scarves
individuals,
out,
isn't it?
boys. Yeah,
it's a
we'll
full
have
team of
obviously
individuals.
Yeah, we're spot on there, boys. It was only going to be a short show tonight, everyone. We'll get to all your comments as well, most importantly. But we'll get Spider and Connor on around the weekend time anyway. But obviously, I will be on with the 1892 Reds podcast in a little second. But spot on there, gents. And get to everyone's comments before we do get the lads' score predictions as well. Make sure I haven't missed any ones. As Gary's saying there, must hit United hard. And that's what we're wanting. I tell you what, if there's no reaction to the two performances, then there's something. If we don't win at Old Trafford, I tell you what, and if City do win their fair game, we don't deserve to be anywhere near the Premier League title of the way in which we've started. Obviously, you never know. The Premier League is very long. But if this run continues and we don't beat this Manchester United side, then there has to be serious questions from all accounts, really. But Spider, score prediction, you have to pick one.
Away from home, Old Trafford.
Beat them 5-0 last season as well.
I said, yeah, and and obviously we're missing a few strikers and stuff like that. But we have Mo Salah that can go through the middle. We have Carvalho that can go through the middle. We have Yelit that can play outright. We have Mo Salah that can play outright for whoever goes in the centre, and we've got the midfield as long as they're fairly fit with Keita coming back, regardless of what's happening in the last couple of days. He'll still play like a professional on the pitch. I would think so if he comes on, and I'd say I'm gonna say 3-0.
Liverpool. Go on.
Obviously.
Jack, get your score predictions in before we do shoot off. Go on, you go on. I tell you what, the fact that Brentford beat them 4-0, I know football sometimes is, as much as we don't like, it's not always as clear as day anyway. But you going?
Do we go?
I'm going with 2-0.
I was like, do we go follow McKendo's score and just go 9-0? Why not?
No, because you know everyone would be clipping you, Connor.
No, I know. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You. No, for me, I agree with Spider. I think 3-0 Liverpool. I think there is going to be a proper reaction from this Liverpool side. There has to be. And yeah, I just think again, there's going to be hopefully everything correct. Hopefully Bobby's back, of course, and full fighting, and Mo's back as well in his normal inside role. But yeah, 3-0 for me.
Hopefully. Chat, get your score predictions in. Quickly get back up to the chat, make sure I haven't missed anyone's comments. As well, if you are watching on the repeat, always do get your comments in, because us or whoever's on the panel throughout the shows as well, Spider Connor will always reply to you as well. The bus start, yeah, that's the big positive coming into this weekend's. Obviously, Joel Matip is a big injury boost as well. Looking potentially that is it Connor? Is he going to be? We haven't seen. We've seen images of him in training, but
he's in he's in light training.
Light training, yeah. So looking like Joe Gomez will be starting alongside Virgil van Dijk. But as Rob saying, apart from the trophies, beating the Manx and Everton probably makes me the happiest following the club as well. Yeah, obviously I'm saying that. Nice you for Fafana. You took Man United to the cleaners on Maguire, so take Chelsea to the cleaners as well. But yeah, obviously Hella's saying about your Barrett there. Make sure it's payback for my childhood. They were always a lot better than us when we were growing up as well. And I don't know if it was Neville or Ryan Giggs was quoted about 10 years ago that
Giggs,
Man United would never.
Or
was it Giggs? Yeah, Giggs. Man United, that famous quote on one of them saying that we'll never drop off like Liverpool. 10 years later, then we'll see where we are in another 10 years if those quotes do surface again. Anyway, after Forest, and as you can tell, he's a Leicester fan and he really hates Forest. And I'm sensing a bit of jealousy with all these signings, mate. At this rate, they'll probably finish above Leicester. With all these signings, hopefully, and Liverpool must hit hard. That's the one thing and biggest aspect, really, as we've already discussed tonight. The intensity needs to be there from the outset, and if it isn't against Manchester United, as we've said, regardless of how bad they have been playing over the last 2 match weeks, they've got the quality to hit Liverpool as well, most importantly. It's brilliant news for Bobby, 100% there it is, mate. Jose, big up Jose, thank you for tuning in, mate, as well. Every single one he is. But he's what about Connor, Jose? I was going to say. Yeah, I was going to say. But I will be getting the lads on a lot more throughout the season. As you all know, I prefer doing them more, getting more guests on anyway. And but these two gentlemen, will be a lot more regular on the channel as well. Really do appreciate it. Empty, yeah. That's the thing. If we scored early, there won't be any fans anyway. Hopefully. But Ten Hag getting sacked by Christmas. Only at the wheel, John. Good evening, chat. Good evening, Doug, as well. As Jose said there, we have to score an early goal like before 20-minute mark as well. 100% agree with you there, Jose.
The last two games he scored in the 5th and the 6th minute, or the 5th and 7th minute or something first.
Yeah, I've got the game up here. Yeah, we obviously Keita getting a goal. Jotted on the 13th minute, Salah getting his hat-trick. Hopefully, I'll tell you what, everyone triple captain Salah at Old Trafford. That's what you need to do. It's all right. Like triple captain Haaland, and he dropped an absolute stinker. He touched the ball eight times last week against Bournemouth. But Gary, have you been on the bevy tonight? It's already it's only 7. But right, guys, I'm doing a shoot as well. Up Paul as well. It was only going to be a short one, but there will be. Come on, StreamYards. Up lads, hope you're good. Ten Hag will walk by October, hopefully. When's Jota back? Mark, not on 100%, but it's looking like today in the rumours, if you want to believe it. Supposedly, looking like he will be, touch wood, everyone. He should be fit for the Ev. Fingers crossed, Mark. So that's his target, if you want to like that in. So looking like Jota will be back for the Everton game. Sadly, he won't be back for Monday too early in his recovery as well. Everton, Bournemouth. You have to wait for mine, Jack as well. But yeah, don't get me started on that. We could have been here all day. But everyone, thank you very much for tuning in. Gentlemen, Connor, just shout out your channel, please, mate, where everyone can find you as well. You're live tonight at 9?
Potentially. No, yeah, I'm live at 9. The Cop Council, as always. Again, we're going to talk about Naby Keita and Bobby Firmino tonight. But yeah, thanks for having us on again.
Very welcome, mate. Luke and Ricky don't absolutely shout at me in a minute if you don't know enough. But Spider, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Where can everyone find you, and what have you got planned on your channel?
Right. I'll be doing the watch along, obviously, for United and Liverpool on Monday. And from next week on, I'm going to be doing a few more regular shows kicking in there. And usually you find me as well also on Twitch at Irish Spider Guy, where I do a lot of gaming and horrors and shooting people and, general drunkenness.
Yeah, so Spider's very much into his game, as you can tell. But make sure you head over to the lads' channels, please. Most importantly, anyway, massive supporters of my channel and support everyone as well on their channels. Everyone's been smashing it lately on the YouTube scene, and that's absolutely fantastic to see as well. Most importantly, we're all one big family, regardless of what clubs. We can wind each other up anyway. That's it. That's just part of being a football fan anyway. But everyone, thank you, Gary, Henry as well, Mark, Jose. Doug as well, Russell. There, lads. And 7 players out and the most injury-prone midfield in England, 100% there, as well. Big up John and every single one of you, and there's absolutely everyone. If you have missed anyone, really do apologise. But most importantly, can you please drop a like on the video? Really just help YouTube algorithm. I've been speaking to a lot of you, and YouTube being YouTube hasn't been sending out your notifications. But as I said, I don't do YouTube for the views. I do it for the interaction and just speaking to all the Reds and all Rad fans as well. But thank you, gentlemen, for joining me on the panel. And everyone, I'll see you again tomorrow at 7 for an opposition preview anyway. That'll be interesting from a Manchester United perspective. We'll see you tomorrow at 7, everyone. If you don't get your notifications, there will be a video on the channel if YouTube don't get their act together. But gents and ladies, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow at 7. And yeah,